Hello, Internet, and welcome to Say Report Jr. I am one of your host companions, Zach Sarowick.
And
And
well, hey, I had it. And
damn,
I am your other co-host companion, Dale Decker.
oh man, I just am never sure if it passed correctly or if I have to say something. You never tell.
I
Then
mean,
again, I didn't try to eat vegan chili today, so who
listen,
knows?
listen. My, my work, they try to have healthy options for us every third Wednesday of the month. If that is
Once,
correct, I
once
think
a month.
I think
Once a
that's
month
right.
they try the healthy
I
stuff.
think that's I think that's right. I think it's once a month. It's called Wellness Wednesday, and today's lunch was vegan chili, and it was a bad idea. I dropped it on my pants. It was actually I thought it was gonna be worse. I thought it was gonna be a worse stain than it actually was, but because it looked way worse because it was wet. When it hit my pants, I just hit the microphone. It was wet when it hit my pants, so it was like a big wet spot
Oh
on my pants,
man,
and I was like, this is not good."
just
And then I can,
stay next to one of the tanks and let one of the animals
yeah,
just kind of spray water at you for a little bit. You'll
yeah,
be fine.
exactly. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it was good. Here's the thing: vegan chili. That's a weird concept because it's basically just beans and vegetables with
I like that weird concept is just no meat for you.
yeah.
No, that's a weird concept,
It
not
was
have meat in
it,
this meal.
it was beans and vegetables, and then the tomato. I guess not tomato sauce. Well, yeah, tomato. I guess tomato sauce. Yeah,
I live in the Southwest. I
and
don't know how to make chili. I can
or tomato paste really, and then the best, and then it was on rice. The best part about it was there were pumpkin seeds. It was so
Okay,
good.
that sounds like how is that the good part? That sounds like the weird part.
Nope, it was the best part.
That sounds like someone was like, I'm supposed to put
Honest,
meat in this chili. I'm out of meat. I'm gonna put pumpkin seeds in instead.
honestly, the pumpkin seeds I did not know about until the chef told me, and I was like, "Oh, that's selling me," and it shouldn't have because
Hmm.
I did not feel good afterwards. But you know,
Ugh.
it could
Well,
it could have been the lack of meat because my body was just like, "You need you something is wrong here."
uh,
Um. So yeah. Uh,
So, okay, we have, as alluded to last episode, we have a lot to talk about regarding the DC family of products.
yeah, and how
So,
Suicide Squad is a great movie.
so before we get there, very quickly, is there anything else? I have done very little the last couple of weeks. There's one big thing that we have both done that I think we're going to talk about next week. Spoiler alert: we've become Pokemon Rangers on the
Oh
internet.
yeah, I
So we'll talk about that.
for a second I was
No, wait, I
like,
was talking about
what
today.
what did both of us do? And then it
I
clicked
know.
right before you
Uh,
said Pokemon Ranger.
and there is actually a new game I've been playing on Switch that came out last year. Hollow Knight came out this year.
Oh yeah,
I can go
yeah.
more into that. I can go more into that next week as well. But let me just do the quick pitch of it. If you are a fan of the Dark Souls games or Shovel Knight, this is
Mm,
like those two combined.
mhm.
Very nice way.
Okay.
So, so that's all I've really been doing the last week. So, what have you been
So
doing?
I have a couple of stories before we get into our DC escapade. That sounded cooler in my head. Um, so I wanted to talk about it last week, but we got off the rails and it was great. It was fantastic. But yeah, so 2 weeks ago, whenever July 4th was, that week, was that 2 weeks ago? Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
probably.
Um, that week, a friend and I, he had the day off, so we kind of took like a little mini road trip, or into Connecticut, uh, and we went to a store called Game Exchange. Um, and at this Game Exchange, it's pretty much kind of like GameStop, but they sell movies and classic console stuff is actually in
Okay.
the store, whereas GameStop it's all online.
Right.
So it's a very cool store. You can find some really good deals there, and a lot of it's used. They do have new stuff in stock as well, so that's cool. But so we go there, and I always check for like crazy TV shows like that are on DVD that I can't watch anywhere. And this time I found the first 2 seasons of Digimon.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about Digimon today. I don't know why. I just randomly was, but oh, it's like I was
Yes.
feeling it. It's like I was
Yes.
feeling it coming toward me.
You knew. So
Oh
I found
man.
the first 2 seasons, and I was like, I'm doing this, because for both of them it was gonna be $30. I believe. Yeah, it was gonna be $30, which is not really bad for 2 seasons of television, which amounted to, let's say, like 200 episodes of Digimon.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with any
Like,
Japanese show. Like
yeah,
a season can be so freaking long, depending on the show you're talking about.
exactly.
Like that came out in the early 2000s,
Yeah, or
so
something like
that
that.
was
Yeah.
that was the time when like a season of Dragon Ball Z is like the entire Cell Saga is off season, and that's like God, like
Yeah.
50 episodes. Yeah,
So
no,
I was like, I've been wanting to get Digimon on DVD, and I'm just doing it. So I go up to the guy, and I hand it to him, and the DVDs weren't inside of the case, so he has to grab them, much like they
right,
are at GameStop.
right, like yeah, okay.
So it makes
I,
sense.
I
So
thought
like
you were being
someone
like, oh,
can't.
nobody actually checked this box
No,
before
no,
they
no, no.
put it on the shelf.
So people can't walk out with it, right?
Right, right.
So he's going through, and I'm standing there, I'm talking to them and my friend and whatever. So we're hanging out, and he comes back and he's like, "I have some bad news." I'm like,
Uh-oh.
"Okay," and he's like, "I can only find the discs for season 2. I, for the life of me, cannot find season 1."
Hmm.
So I was like, "Oh, well, okay." And I'm like, I'm still gonna buy it because it's $15. And worst
Right.
comes to worst, I'll find season 1 online. But I'm
And
not gonna say
not
no.
not
Like,
a huge important storyline that you need to be watching from the beginning.
no, it's fine. It's pretty much Digidestins. They go to a digital world. They have little monsters. There you go. There's an evil mon, usually, that has an evil name, like Devimon. So, it's not that hard.
God, I'm just
So anyways, so I was like, "Oh, well, okay." So I was about to say I'll just grab it, and I was like, "Can I try another store?" So I called another store. I don't think they knew what I was talking about. He's like, the way I said it was weird too, but he was like, "The only thing we have is the movie." So I was about to say I'll buy it, and the guy was like, "You know what? This keeps happening to people, so I'm just gonna give you this for free." And I was like, "What?"
the
You're just
plight
gonna
of other people
What?
has translated to you getting it. Okay, sure.
And I was
Yeah.
like, "You're just gonna give me okay?" And it was like, I was so caught off guard. I was so prepared to buy it, and it was like, just here. And I was like, "Oh my
All right.
God!" Like, it felt really cool because I was like, "Damn!" Like, I know the struggle of having to go into the drawers, have someone waiting for you going through the drawers, and then having to come back and be like, "I can't find the thing that you want," because either people don't know the alphabet, someone put it, someone already sold it and it didn't calculate correctly. It wasn't supposed to be there to begin with. Like, there's a number of reasons, and like I was telling that to him, and he's like, "Nah, it's all good. You're good." So I leave, and I text Devin about it. And he's like, "Oh wow, like, nice job." And then I don't remember if I think I went through and I found the four seasons, the first pretty much the whole series, the first 4 seasons of Digimon on eBay for $40.
Nice.
So I was like, I don't even care that I'll have 2 copies of season 2, but I'm doing this because I was just about to get 2 of them for $30.
Yeah, I mean seriously, if it wasn't for the fact that you had to like
$10.
drive to Connecticut to
Yeah.
get to that store, I would have been like, just take the season 2 out of that and hand it back to the guy and be like,
I
"Hey,
know, right?
problem solved."
Exactly. So that was good. The other one was like a dig at Walmart. I feel bad digging at Walmart, but like I'm gonna dig at Walmart. I really don't feel that bad.
It's Walmart.
Yeah, I know.
I
So
don't
I
begrudge
don't
anybody
feel
that
bad.
has to work at Walmart. I understand
Like-
that you need your paycheck. You're good. Walmart,
Exactly.
the company, sucks. So
Exactly. So they have the new pickup service, whatever, right? So
Yes.
so Devin put in for a pickup of Super Troopers 2 and Super Troopers. It was a Blu-ray combo pack, right? It was like $26 or whatever. So he puts in for a pickup, and he's like, if you like grab it on your way home, whatever. I'm like, cool, fine, we got this. Never got an email. We got an email that was processing. Never got an email saying that it was ready. And then 4 hours later, we put the pickup in Devin put the pickup in at 3:30. 4 hours later, we got an email saying it was delayed. So we were like, nah, no. Walmart is 5 minutes from our house. Like, let's just go.
Kind of
We
defeats
go
the
there.
purpose of the pickup.
Right?
Yeah.
So we go there, and online it said that after the order was put through, it said online that there were only 4 copies left. We went there were 5 copies on the floor. So our copy that was essentially paid for was sitting on the floor still. And I'm like, I'm just buying it. Canceled the order. Like, I was pissed. Devin was upset too. And it's just like, this is asinine. This is stupid and not how this is supposed to go. Devin paid for it. He paid for it with his money. It didn't go through, but it was still like the money was pretty much gone.
Right. At some point, they were going to process that order. Theoretically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is bullshit. And he's like, we're gonna cancel it. And I'm like, good. So we buy it. And then I was like, on the way home, I'm like, I'm pissed. I'm calling. So I call Walmart, and I was like, you need to know that this is awful. Like, and the woman was like, well, I'm really sorry. And she was like trying to explain it. So, and she said that she would talk to the people, but it's just like, damn. Like, I know it's a new process, but come on. Like, so yeah. So that was
new things like that. I'm gonna say, like, give it like a month, and maybe they'll be better at it. It all depends on how often like people at that store are using it too.
Yeah.
Is always like an annoying thing.
Yeah. It's just like I feel like they've been doing pickup at store for a while now.
They have from the website. I don't know about the store itself. Is the other part to that? I know from the website has always had like a pickup store option.
Yeah.
There's also, again, going with the idea that the company itself not the greatest. There's always a good chance that they like implemented this thing and did very little to actually train anybody of how that process works.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, it's in your store now. Now you can learn it. It's like, but wait, hold on.
It's just like there was a disconnect somewhere, and it's like,
oh yeah,
come on, guys. Like, I understand you're trying to compete with these other places, and you're not yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that the problem with the thing that I had a problem with was theoretically, what if 5 people came in before me and bought the last 5 copies of what I wanted, what I put on hold essentially. And like, it's too big of a store for, I don't know, I could be talking out of my ass here, but I feel like it's too big of a store to like ping the person, the cashier, saying like, this product is already sold, not in stock or something,
Yeah, no, there's no system in the store that works that quickly.
Like, there can't be. So I don't know, but it was, the good thing about it is that I was able to get the DVD, but it was just that little annoyance, that I've gotten over, but I needed to share with the internet.
Well, there you go. Now it's off your chest. You know what never got off my chest? How bad Suicide Squad is.
Segues! That was a pretty good segue. I have to give that to you. But damn.
I'm gonna give you my like 5 like my 1 sentence like kind of breakdown of how I feel about Suicide Squad, and then you can try and convince me why I'm wrong. Okay. But here's what Suicide Squad felt like when I watched it. Suicide Squad feels like a very well made direct-to-video sequel to a movie that doesn't exist, where they both went, oh, you already know these characters enough that we can kind of screw around with them, but at the same time, we don't think that you watched the other movie, so here's a half hour of introducing them 3 different ways. That's what Suicide Squad feels like to me when I watch it. It feels like I like was flipping channels and I hit Suicide Squad like midway through. There's in a single minute of that movie that doesn't feel like I'm midway through a movie already, where it's like I just was like flipping channels and I found it, and there always just feels like I'm missing something. So that's how I feel about Suicide Squad. How do you feel about Suicide Squad?
Very different. If it's on, like, It is one of the movies on my list where no matter what channel it's on, it is if it's on and I see it's on the guide or whatever, it's going on the TV. And I will watch it from whatever point it is at to the end.
And it will always feel like you watched the whole thing.
Okay, so the things that I really really like about it are when I first saw it, I can't believe how short it felt. It's like that could be a negative thing, but for me in that instance, here's the thing. Superhero movies, right? They're long. They're long and crazy and drawn out, and it makes sense kind of cuz they're superhero movies and they have all the effects, they have all the explosions and all that and the good guys and the bad guys, and you have the fans who are willing to sit there for like 2.5 hours. Whereas Suicide Squad, I don't remember the runtime on it, but it feels short. And it should feel short because it's just villains. Like, it's not, it shouldn't, and it doesn't follow that normal superhero, guidelines. So that worked for me because I was like, I can just having fun and I can miss stuff, but I can still have fun because DC villains are the best part of DC. For me.
That is very true. I will give you that.
I definitely favor Marvel over DC, but it's always been I like the DC villains. I don't care about Batman. I really don't care about Superman. When I was a kid, I really liked.
We're gonna
Superman.
get into Superman later. I, think,
I kind of figured. As a kid, I was like, oh, Superman's cool. Like I had a little book that had Superman all over it, and I did really like Superman as a kid, and then I just grew up and kind of grew out of it. I realized that there were more superheroes in the world, and Superman is, he's classic and he's the guy, but there are cooler ones out there. And it's just, yeah, and none of the heroes really ever did it for me. But the villains were always so fascinating. I mean, you have the Joker, who, like, come on. And they're mainly Batman villains. Because...
Right, because they started out as Suicide Squad kind of came out of Batman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like, you have Deathstroke and you have Deadshot, and, they're just cool... They're cooler. They're just cooler than the heroes. And you have Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. And I know I'm mentioning...
people who weren't in that movie?
Yeah, no. I'm not mentioning people who were in that movie. But it's just as a whole, and it's mainly Batman villains, because they're the ones who the world really knows more about, I feel. They were always just so cool to me. Which is kind of crazy, but it's true. So... I don't know. It was such a fun movie. Just turn your brain off to. I didn't see Batman v Superman, so I didn't care about the world. I don't even think it really matters if you've seen it.
They don't switch over.
Like
at all,
I never saw Man of Steel. So I didn't have any of this background knowledge. So I was going in fresh, and it worked because I didn't need to know that stuff. Whereas in Marvel, if this was a villain movie for Marvel, I would have had to see movies like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, I would have to seen every single movie. So, like, that was also cool for me, too. Where it's like, I don't need to know shit. I can just go into this and enjoy the madness that is about to happen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And in concept, I think that's what they were going for. It just doesn't hit for me that way. I don't know. For some reason, it feels like because they don't do a lot of that background stuff. Now, I mean, I think what it is more for me is that they like, not kidding, like the first third of that movie is them introducing and then reintroducing everybody to the point where like it feels like they could have taken some of that time to do some character stuff later on. That scene in the bar is probably the best scene in the whole movie for me.
Oh, I cry every time.
I love it. I love it because it's the first time where they stop for 5 minutes and have like human conversation.
Yep.
And like if some of that was at the beginning of the movie, like you get a little bit of that with Deadshot and a lot of that with Harley Quinn, and you get none of that with any of the other characters. And it just feels like it's like, okay, so for 10, 15 minutes, we're going to do the scene in the prison where they're already in their cells. We're going to give you their names, and they're going to have one-liners. Then for about 20 minutes, we're going to talk about Harley Quinn and Deadshot. And then for another 10 minutes, they're all going to come out into the prison yard and get their equipment, and we're going to do a bunch of one-liners again. And it's like, wait, hold on. Hold on
Yeah,
for like
no,
2 seconds.
I get what you're saying. So I guess maybe I went into it. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I mean, like, I don't need that much. I don't need that much more than what they gave us. I don't know. It just feels like for a movie that you're right, it feels like it's going at a clip. But like I said before, it also feels like they don't know. It takes them a few minutes to kind of figure out their footing, because it's like they can't figure out exactly how they want to open up this movie. Because I do like that idea that you don't need to go like, I don't need an origin story for every single one of these
Exactly.
people.
You know
Like,
who these villains are.
right. Like I appreciate that idea of like trusting an audience and being like, you know these characters, we don't need to get into it. But at the same time, it feels like they also went, but we don't trust you to remember their names, so we do need to do that a bunch of times. And then to be like, and then it's like, and then like the one guy, and then it becomes like glaringly obvious when it's like, oh, here's one person in the whole crowd that has never been mentioned before. And they're dead 2 minutes
Oh,
later.
you mean Slipknot? Oh, you mean Slipknot?
Where Slipknot gets absolutely no introduction whatsoever,
It's
and then
great.
2 minutes after learning his name, his head explodes.
I know. That's
Like,
honestly like that's probably the worst part of that movie for me. and like that's a big kind of compliment to show how much I actually love this movie. To say that the Slipknot part is the worst part for me.
And then it's like the idea that like Enchantress becomes like the bad guy of that movie, but she is also introduced with the rest of them at the beginning. That's what I mean when I say it feels like almost like a sequel to a movie that didn't exist, because it's like they just kind of decided, oh, you know 2 things about Enchantress. You care enough about her now where we can make her entire character turn and become a bad guy for the rest of this movie.
Yeah.
But it's like, wait, hold on.
Where'd
The
she
only
come from?
reason we
Yeah.
know anything about Enchantress is because Rick Flag apparently has a crush on her. Like, that's all we know.
I think it's a little bit more than a crush, Zach.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
again,
all right.
Maybe. It's not like the movie bothers to tell us that.
What? Yes, it does.
It sounds like Rick Flag. It looks like Rick Flag is like following around like with the big puppy dog eyes, like I love you, and Enchantress could honestly give 2 shits.
Wait.
Like,
No.
That's what it feels like to me when I watch that.
But the Enchantress is inside of his girlfriend,
That's
who
true.
he loves. She's not the
Oh.
Enchantress. What?
She's not Enchantress the whole time, I guess. I guess that's true. I don't
the
know.
Oh my! It is explained, Zach. She's an architect or an archaeologist. She finds the idol. She breaks the idol, and then the Enchantress's soul demon thing enters her body, and she basically becomes, I guess, Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know.
I guess,
But
yeah, kind of Jekyll and Hyde.
She's a
but
person.
Like, I know she's a person, but I mean, like, they don't. Like, there's very little amount of that movie where she is just that person interacting with people before she goes off. Like, she's in that one meeting room with Amanda Waller, and then all of a sudden, like, after that is just pretty much when she's gone, and they have to go find her in the city, like that, because that's the main action of the movie.
But
So, like,
it's not. But he's not in love with the Enchantress.
I know.
need
Sorry,
you
I was
to
complaining the
need
whole
you-
character. I apologize.
You
I was putting the
can't-
whole character under that name.
You can't.
But-
You can't
okay,
do that.
I get that.
Even though I don't remember her name,
Yeah,
Cara,
okay.
Cara last name that I.
You almost said Cara Danvers. That is for later.
I know.
That's a completely different character.
Cara last name that I can't pronounce, but she's awesome in
Ugh.
Suicide Squad and Valerian, City of a Thousand Planets. Anyways,
But I mean, like,
I-
but that's the kind of thing. I mean, like, it's like the whole kind of basis of that story and like the emotional weight of that story is somehow based on a character that you barely see, can't even remember her name, turning, and it's like, oh wait, hold on. Or not turning, being possessed. But it's like, I don't care about this person that's possessed because I don't know anything about her to begin with.
well, you and I watch movies very differently. No, I'm only kidding. So
I
on
think
that,
that's what it really comes down to. Here's the other thing. After saying all of that, I'll watch that movie with like a group of people and like just laugh along with it. I'm
Okay,
not saying I'll
see?
never watch it again.
See?
I just
It's
don't
a
think it's a
fun,
particular. It's a
stupid
fun
movie.
movie. It's not a good movie in my opinion.
No, I mean, I know it's not a good movie. I say it's a good movie because I enjoy it, but I know deep down
Right.
it's really not. It's not a good movie. But the effects in it are really cool, and I have to give
Oh yeah,
that to them.
it's beautifully made.
It's
It's
beautiful.
excellently crafted.
Yes.
Uh,
But story wise, yeah, it's a little wonky. But so what I was gonna what I was gonna say earlier is like you were saying that it's basically Deadshot and Harley Quinn.
yes.
Yeah, yes, that is. I mean, that's how you have to watch it. I know you shouldn't say that's how you have to watch a movie, or that's that's it's better a second time or anything like that. But that's how you have to watch Suicide Squad. You kind of have to go into it thinking, oh, this is a Harley Quinn Deadshot story. There are just some other
That
villains
that the
around.
Suicide Squad is there for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like I don't know, and the Harley, I don't know, I cry so much in this movie. I really do, cause it's those little subtle moments that you say are too few and far between that I am as a person am able to latch onto and just hold like with me while I'm watching the movie. And I don't know why that is, but it's what happens. So I have those moments in the beginning where Deathshot, I almost just called him Deathstroke. Deathshot is talking to his daughter and he gets taken away. And it's like you have all these things and it's like, damn, like this guy, like it's like you feel bad. I at least feel bad, kind of. Like, yeah, he kills people, but like he does have a little daughter and he is trying to be
Yeah. Again,
somewhat good with her, but he this is like all he kind of knows, which is sad to me. And it's like, and then you have the Harley Quinn stuff, which is always fascinating, but the part where she like takes off the pudding necklace, like she leaves them, she goes off with Joker, and then realize like, and she just falls down, blah blah blah, and she on the cop car and she pulls off the pudding necklace and just throws it, and then she's so sad and defeated, and then when the people come out, just instant change into back into Harley Quinn. It's just like those subtle moments are what make them film for me. Cause in those subtle moments, in those subtexts, that's where you get the good story and the good background and all of that. And yeah. And you get that with Diablo, and you don't really get it with Boomerang or whatever. That's his name, right? Boomerang.
yes.
Captain Boomerang. You don't really get it with Captain Boomerang, and you don't get it with Croc, Killer Croc. You know?
And I think, yeah, and see, here's the thing. Knowing because, I mean, this is also me just bringing I very rarely bring baggage of knowing characters from the comics to these things because I don't read as many comics
Yeah, neither do I.
as other people. Knowing, like, the character of Killer Croc made me mad that there wasn't more of him in that movie because his story is like equally like really deep and sad in a lot of ways, and they just did nothing with him in that movie.
Yeah, no, and I get that too. Like I get why people don't like it. I do. It's just that's another thing. Like I don't know much about Killer Croc. I don't know about Captain Boomerang, and I don't know about Diablo. Like I don't know about those characters. So anything I was able to take away from them was nice. So having Captain Boomerang have that freaking unicorn with him the whole time was like, oh, okay. And then you have the Killer Croc scene where he's like, I'm not ugly, like I'm freaking beautiful. It's like, aw, like I don't know. I don't know. I just maybe it is because I don't have the knowledge that other people do of the villains. Maybe it's because I have memories of like Harley Quinn from watching like little clips of Harley Quinn from video games and the animated series and Brave and the Bold and all of that. But I don't know. It's just I was able to find those moments in the movie that really worked for me. And it really does check a lot of boxes for me. because, like I said, this movie had problems. We all know that this movie, the production of this movie had problems, and the movie itself has problems. All the Jared Leto stuff, basically all the Joker scenes that cut, which I'm kind of okay with, because I feel like any more of the Joker, it wasn't about the Joker. It wasn't supposed to be about the Joker. It was essentially supposed to be about Harley Quinn, and
Right.
to a degree, Deathshot. Or Deadshot. Deadshot?
Deadshot.
Deadshot. Sorry.
Batman, you've got too many characters with similar
I'm getting
names.
real passionate and I'm messing up names. Anyways, it's supposed to be about them and more so Harley than Deadshot. But so having more Joker would have just made it the Joker show.
Right.
And
No, I did not want more Joker in that. My bigger thing, like when I think about the Joker scenes in that, especially when they're interacting, is the scene with Common, which always give me Common, and I fucking love Common
Right?
as an actor. It's fucking great. But what I wish from that scene, and it's been a while since I watched it, so maybe I'm just misremembering it entirely, but what I wish from that scene was more for Harley to be taking charge in that scene, because it feels so much like she is just reacting to what the Joker wants. And I think that was a bigger thing about what people had to criticize about Harley Quinn as she's kind of portrayed in this, because to be fair, early on, she was created for the animated series as just a sidekick to the Joker. Like,
Yeah.
she is one of the very few characters that was created for the animated series that was then brought into like comics later on. And the thing was, once she was brought into the comics, she grew so much more as a character, with like having this like relationship with Poison Ivy, and this whole idea of like she's with the Joker but not really with the Joker, and she understands that that's an abusive relationship, and all this stuff. And I think the problem was that Suicide Squad really went like further back in that relationship than what people have been used to for the last few years. Like my expectation is also that like Harley Quinn's going to have a cartoon show on the new DC Universe streaming thing that's like produced by and starring Margot Robbie. And
Yay.
and then like they're doing like the Birds of Prey movie that they just
Yep.
announced might cross over with the Gotham City Sirens movie they've been wanting to make, all of this. So like I would fully expect that character to grow in that same direction going forward. I think the problem was that so much of that feels like the early animated series kind of like jokey version of Harley Quinn when she's in those scenes with Joker, that it's just like people wanted more out of that. Which and that Common scene, like I wish, like it's not that this is me just rewriting movies again, but like for it's Joker entirely kind of commanding that scene and then Harley reacting to it. And what I would love is for Harley to do like one thing that too Common that Joker didn't like tell her to do or something, or like he says, I can't remember the scene specifically, so he like says something and then Harley goes over and like puts the gun to Common's head or something, if I'm remembering the scene right. And what I would have loved is for her to have snuck around and done that, and then when Joker says something, she's already got the gun to his head.
Yeah.
Like just something that just like that little bit of thing where it looks like she's got more agency over what she's doing.
I get that.
That's what I would have wanted. But that's like minimal. At the same time, these are like the strongest parts of the film are Margot Robbie's acting and Harley's story and all of that. So
yeah, I think so. I just want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. You wanted to see more of the independent Harley than the abused Harley.
Yes.
And I completely get that. What I have a problem with is people going around being like, there wasn't enough Joker Harley abuse.
Yeah, no.
It's what is wrong with you? First of all, there is plenty. Second of all, what kind of sick fuck are you that you want to see that? Like, I understand that's part of their characters, but like, you gotta check yourself a little bit when you say that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because you essentially want to watch people like someone getting abused on
I think
film.
There are jerks that want that, and then there are the jerks that want that, and then there are the people that wanted her to be like, that wanted to see her be like, yeah, fuck this abuse, I'm going to do my own thing now. And what you got is like, I think that's what we're gonna get eventually. Yeah. I think it's just that they had to kind of roll back that whole idea or it's essentially the first outing with Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
So
which kind of makes sense because you have she is in control that whole movie except for when she's with the Joker.
Right.
And even I'm trying to think if there I'm trying to think. No, there's really not. There like really isn't any portion where she is with the Joker where she has the power. Yeah, no. But it does show that she is capable of it. There's just something about him that has control over him,
Right. It's that
over her.
she as
It's
a
like
character has to learn that, and it's like
exactly.
I
So
think
it's
that
like
yeah.
why like you can be badass and you can be this independent person and you can take charge. So it's like, okay, figure out, you kind of want to root for her. So I think it's kind of cool that it shows that comparison, shows that she still has those problems with the Joker and that there is a part of her that does love him. But like there's that, I bring back the moment where she rips off the pudding necklace.
Right,
And
after he has effectively abandoned her, and it's
yes.
like, oh, okay, so now she finally
Yeah.
figures it
So
out.
you
Yeah,
you have that, you do have that, it's a little moment, but like I said, her acting there, just that switch over is like painful but also really nice to see,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But yeah. And it's really weird. Like I was talking about it too, about the whole Joker Harley, dynamic, and you can kind of see that he cares about her whichever way it is. Like I guess it is because he has control over her and he doesn't want that to go. But you have that moment where she drops in the acid for him and then he's up there. He could have stayed up there and then he jumps in after her. And some people can argue it's like he's insane. Of course he would. But it's like there's a look on his face where he's like, shit.
Yeah, and there's, I mean, not that I never want to go to bat for Jared Leto in any way, but just as the Joker, um, Joker's a very weird, complex character in a lot of ways. Again, coming from like the comics, where it's like they'll simultaneously look like he doesn't give a shit and do like really stupid things, like whacking people with like sledgehammers to death,
Mm-hmm.
and then he'll turn around and he'll use a freaking water flower on his lapel to mess with people.
Yeah.
And so like I think that the movies are very, there are very few of those movies. I think like Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson's Jokers get that the best,
Mm.
but like that kind of like switch over weirdness to him where it's like sometimes he looks like he cares and other times he doesn't, and that's just kind of part of his mania.
Yeah.
And so I think that, and like it's supposed to be that like that's what Dr. Quinzel latches onto, is that he somehow convinces her that there's feeling there, but maybe there isn't,
Yeah,
and it's
there
supposed to
isn't.
be kind of
Mm.
vague.
Okay.
Like it's supposed to be vague whether or not he's like tricking her or actually has those feelings. So like I think that was actually played very well
Yeah, that's
in the
true.
movie.
Yeah.
It's just that I think that because again, whether the longer scenes would have shown that, I like those scenes end up being kind of separated from the
Mm.
rest of the movie in a lot of ways because they're all flashbacks and all this other stuff that like it starts to feel like it's just a different character in every one of those scenes with the Joker, which he's supposed to be. I mean, that's supposed to be the thing, is that every time the Joker shows up, you have no idea who you're going to get. But I think it's just that we're so used to like Batman 1989 and Dark Knight, where we got so much Joker and those switches happened in like mid scene. And so you get it comes off more menacing that way, as opposed to like, here's one scene where he's acting crazy and here's one scene where he almost looks human.
Yeah.
And then it almost feels like they're from two different movies. So
I guess that's true. I kind of forgot about that. So yeah, I guess that's true. So it is that still,
But
it's
again,
true
I don't
to the
want to see.
character of
Yeah, I don't want to see I don't want to see longer scenes with the Joker in that movie. I don't. There's no point to that.
See, so
He's not a main character in that movie.
no, he shouldn't be. But you know what? I have like really two more points to make about Suicide Squad,
Oh, right.
and one of them is I hate now that there are all these deleted scenes. It's almost like, and I know that I'm crazy for thinking this, but it's almost like there are deleted scenes out there that they specifically keep deleted so that you will buy the DVD
Oh, definitely.
just to see it. Like,
Oh,
there is a
definitely.
part of me that does want to buy the Suicide Squad DVD and watch the deleted scenes of the Joker or watch the director's cut just to see what it could have added to the story. I imagine not much, but who knows? Like, it could have those moments of power for Harley, and they were just like, we can't do that. We can't show her as independent with him, you know? And we were talking about Jurassic World last week, right? Fallen Kingdom, excuse me.
Right.
We were talking about Fallen Kingdom last week, and there are scenes in it that I have no doubt were cut that explained stuff that wasn't explained, you know? And it's just, it sucks. It's like, come on. If you had kept that scene in, it would have made your movie better. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then it's just, I don't know. I just feel like it's like scheming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that, I mean, let me put it this way. I am almost 100% certain that sometimes they film scenes that they specifically know they're going to cut later so that they can in the same way that, like, when you need money from someone, you ask for way more money than you actually need so that you can negotiate down.
Yes.
I have no doubt in my mind that there are scenes that they film that they go, well, this isn't working, but we're filming it anyway. So when they tell us to cut it for time, this goes first. Like that,
True.
I have no doubt happens.
Yeah.
And then as far as like, oh, see this later and on the DVDs later. I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit of that goes on, or at the very least, someone markets that later, where it's like, no, we cut this thing for time and it really didn't work, but we know how much you really want to see those scenes. So when we start doing DVD commercials, we're gonna really hit the point home that there's more Joker here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think call it an exclusive deleted scene, never seen before. Yeah, no shit, it was deleted. How would we have seen it? It's always going to be exclusive for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
So that I think is like what more happens. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, unless Jared Leto convinced someone to film a bunch of scenes so he could use them later to try and sell his Joker movie to people. Like,
I need these for
which is
myself.
totally,
Why,
yeah,
Jared?
Which is
No,
totally something he would
just need
do.
them.
Yeah. Which is totally something he would do. It'd be like, no, don't worry. I have a personal reel I'm putting together.
I have a feeling you don't like Jared Leto.
Oh, I don't. I really don't.
Well,
the man sent dead pigs to people as the Joker for a method acting thing.
Oh,
yeah.
I did hear about that.
Yeah. Oh,
I did hear about
anyway.
that. We can talk about that later if you
we don't
want,
have to.
But
we don't have to.
So
he thinks he's Daniel Day-Lewis and he's not. The end. I mean,
all right. Fair enough. So the other thing my real last point, basically, I mean, the way I watch Suicide Squad and I feel like the way other people watch Suicide Squad are completely two different ways, and that goes for a lot of movies with me. Movies are fun to analyze and all that, and they're fun to really poke holes in. And if it's a bad movie, yeah, it's, you know, I'm all for I'm not all for criticizing. Criticizing is fine. It is the world that we live in. Everybody has an opinion, but it's like I just have fun with movies. Like, I just love movies.
You have an entertainment first mentality when it comes to, okay, that's perfectly fine.
Unless it is a movie that is strictly putting itself out there for criticism, like Oscar movies.
Right.
Like, when Oscar season happens, I become more critical. But summer movie season, every movie to me is like, oh my God, this is super fun. Like, not super funny, but like, I don't know. It's just a movie. It's a movie. Did it do its job? Did it entertain me for 2 hours? Yeah? Okay, then we're good here.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I mean,
and then I can poke holes into it later if I want. But during the movie, I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to let the people who worked on the movie have their moment, and I'm going to watch it.
And that's probably a healthier way to watch movies than the way I do, to be fair. That's been like a symptom of like my English degree for years that I've been trying to work through, is that like I just overanalyze and like critically watch everything. But it's also why I go back now and watch things like all of the Leprechaun movies because you can't analyze those movies. They
Yeah,
make
no,
no sense.
no.
Just watch them.
Yeah. I
Leprechaun 4 in space looks like the world's worst version of a
Yep.
sci-fi like SYFY original film. And that's saying something. They've put out 6 Sharknado films.
Yep.
So
It's like there's a movie that it's not even fun to make fun of is Sharknado, but it's still a movie. I watched it. Devin fell asleep during it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I said that, Devin, but it needs to be said anytime Sharknado comes up. Uh, but yeah, like it's funny. One of my bosses at work is like, "You never dislike a movie, huh?" And I was like, "Well, no, I do. It's just I don't choose to talk about the movies I don't like. It's if and even the movies that I don't like, usually I can like make a case for them, but it's still I didn't like um 3 Billboards Out of Ebbing whatever. I did not like that movie.
New Jersey, Tana.
New Jersey. I didn't know if it was New Jersey.
No, it's Montana.
Was it Montana? I don't know. I don't know what's happening. But like
I actually don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, well, the 3 Billboards movie. I did not like that movie at all. So I don't talk about it. It's just I don't know. I watch movies differently than people.
No, no. I think here's the thing. You watch movies the way that like I think healthy-minded, like average people watch them, which is the best way to watch them because you get more enjoyment out of them probably
and
than
it's
a lot of people.
And it's not like I mean, listen. I quote unquote I use my film degree when I do watch movies, but it's just like it's more a fact of like I have a film degree, so I know what I'm talking about to a degree. To a degree, no one really knows that. Movies are so interpretive. Like you can say whatever you want about a movie, pretty much, and that's kind of the beauty of them in a way. Is that you can have your own opinion, and if you make your case, if your case is strong enough, then I'll give your opinion a listen, but it's not gonna.
Or if you've somehow been roped into a podcast where you don't have a choice but to listen to my opinion.
Exactly. There we go. But no, like this conversation, it's not gonna change the way still like.
Nor do I expect it to.
Exactly.
Like that's the other thing. The other thing is, no matter how much I go after Suicide Squad, there isn't anything in that movie that like offends me.
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
only time I'm ever gonna tell someone not to like a movie is if I think it's like
offensive,
horribly offensive in some way.
Yeah, like no.
And even then, I watch a lot of 70s horror movies. I can deal with a lot of offensive shit.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I feel like Emoji Movie. People criticizing that before it even comes out. It's like, how can you do that? I don't get that. I don't get judging a movie before you've even seen it. I know people who would not go near the theater. Pretty much. That's exaggeration.
No, be hyperbolic.
But
go
like,
ahead. Okay.
basically, like they wouldn't even touch a movie theater because of the Emoji Movie, and it's like, first of all, that's no way to treat movies. First of all. Second of all, come on. Like, how can you judge? It was a good movie. And it wasn't supposed to be serious. It wasn't supposed to be an Oscar nomination, award-winning, blah, blah, blah movie. It was supposed to entertain with something that is huge. For the love of God, 2 days ago, it was National Emoji Day. How can there not be a movie about it? So, yeah, it's stupid and it's for kids, but come on. It was fun. It was a fun movie that you can just turn your brain off to on a Sunday morning.
Someday I'll watch it.
You need to.
Well, to go from that to the two of us, I think are about to start gushing over something. So this is good. We're gonna end on a much more.
We'll end on a positive note.
On a positive note, you mentioned last week that you have been trying to catch up with all of Supergirl. I am about.
No.
Are you all caught up?
No.
Is that what
so it's not that I'm trying to catch up with it. It's that I started like maybe halfway through season. I don't even know what season. because there was cool stuff going on in the episode, and I'm like, I'll watch
There you
this
go.
with you, Dad. Let's do it. Like, and it was,
That's an even better way.
and it
That
was,
doesn't happen anymore. Like I
yeah,
love
no.
that idea of just like, oh, I caught something in the middle
And
of an episode and I couldn't stop watching
and
after
I
that.
don't and I
That's
don't usually do that with like shows. Like if I see an episode of something that I'm like, "Oh, this is interesting." I stop watching immediately and try to catch up. But this, it was just like, I kind of know the world of Metropolis and whatever place that she protects.
National City.
National
It's
City.
National City.
Thank you, National City. I knew it was a city. So I know the story behind Supergirl. I know all that. I actually saw the first couple of episodes, so I know her character and I know some of the characters. I just went to school and never watched it while I was at school. So I watched probably like the first 3 or I don't know, like the first 5 episodes. Which really does give that formation of the show. And
Right.
then me and my dad were home one day, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch Supergirl," and it's the storyline of the World Killers. You know the World Killers, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
that sounds like the end of season 3. That's actually where I am. I'm about
Okay.
halfway through
All
season
right.
3 right now.
So it's the
So
story of these.
just getting into that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's the story of these World Killers, and I'm like, "Well, what is this?" And it was so cool. The action was really cool. And my dad knows the show because he's been watching it from season 1. So if there's something that I don't understand, he's right on it. He's like, "Well, she's bad." I'm like, "Okay, thanks, Dad." And and I'll be like, "Who's this person?" And he'll be like, "Oh, okay. So his dad. I think Win. There was an episode
Yes.
with Win, which I don't know if you saw the episode with his dad and his mom.
Yes. I haven't seen the one with his mom.
Okay, so never mind.
But
I
there is
won't
a,
talk about it.
But there is an episode in like season 1, or I think it's season 1, where they talk about his dad being the toy maker, the
Yes.
serial
Yes.
killer. Yeah. So
So
you do have like that background by the time.
I
Yeah.
never knew that. I never knew that about his character, and I'm sorry, but it gets brought back up again. I won't tell you how. But
Okay, I mean,
it does.
his dad wasn't dead, so I assumed that it would come back eventually.
Yeah,
Here's the thing:
so-
it's a CW show now. It started on CBS. It's a
Yes,
CW show
yeah.
now, which also means that they'll start bringing back characters like crazy on a regular basis.
True. So so that episode happens, and I was like, "Dad, what is going on? Win's dad was a serial killer?" Because I love Win. I was like, "Win's dad was a serial killer? What?" And he's
It's a
like,
really-
and
it's
he
a-
like began to tell me the whole thing of it, and I was like, "All
Have
right."
you watched the episode? Have you actually watched that episode with that? Because
No.
it's one of
No.
the best episodes of season 1. Like
No.
the acting from them. Here's the thing. I've been watching the DC like Arrowverse shows and Smallville like crazy the last few months, just kind of going through them, and I'm trying to think of. I had this like trifecta in my head of it between Arrow, Flash, and Supergirl. Supergirl has the best acting out of the 3 of them.
Okay.
Flash has like some of my favorite stories because it does a lot more sci-fi time travel stuff, which I absolutely love. And then Arrow has like the best fight scenes because they've all been doing it for 6 years.
Okay.
And so it's like Arrow is like super over dramatic and super like grumbly. It's the most like DCEU of their shows because it's their
Nice.
version, because it's their Batman. They couldn't do a Batman show, so they made Arrow instead. And so he's like super grumpy. And it's like, but and even then, like in its 6th season now, they're like trying to change that up where it's like he's a dad now, and they're all trying to figure out what to do when the angry guy becomes happy, and it's all this weirdness. But it has some of the best action sequences just because I think they've got the most like stunt people on their cast. But Supergirl has the best acting. It has some of the best acting from their actors, especially because like Alex.
Yep.
Kara's sister. I was watching her on Grey's Anatomy before she left that to go be on Supergirl.
Yep.
Oh,
And like
man.
I love the characters, and I already I liked the show when I first watched it in the first season. I was like, these are cool characters. I like them. I don't really know some of these other characters. Like I said, I know Supergirl, but it's like Alex is such a good character.
She really
She
is.
really,
Oh, man.
really is. Like, talk about your badass female like hero who she's just so, and she's so kind-hearted, and yeah, it's just, I don't know. I love her. Um
And also because of the switch over to CW, and because CW just like loves to put like gay characters in everything,
Yep.
Alex became like their coming out story,
Yep.
which was also great because
Which,
it's really well done. It's
yes.
like really amazingly well
Yes.
done.
Which, like, hey, Fallen Kingdom, take some notes.
Yeah,
Anyways,
really.
so I actually did see some of those episodes too, just like bits and pieces, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And it's like, this is like a kind of the perfect show, but because you can come in at any point, because the characters are not simple, but you know,
But they also
they
have a tendency to like re-explain a lot of stuff
exactly,
because they're doing
exactly.
so many different things.
Yes,
Yeah.
it has all of the representation in the world, pretty much. Like, you, it does.
I mean, they got
um,
the actor that plays Martian Manhunter, John Jones, is
oh,
so freaking
so
good.
good, so good. And I don't know. I mean, this could be. It's not really a spoiler because it's people. It's a friendship, but like the relationship between Alex and John is so. It's just. It's like, yes, this is what a real relationship is, and they clearly love each other. But like,
Yes.
it's really nice that they're not in love with each other, because I
No, no,
don't
no.
need that. I
Because
don't
they have a
need.
much more like it's not even like I mean it was father daughter ish like
Yes.
going at
Yeah.
different points, but it's also like this like mutual respect like mentor mentee
Exactly.
thing. It's not always familial, but it's like just right there.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. There's like without that stupid romance forced in angle that you would get in a lot of other things.
Exactly. And I don't like I don't need the episode where Alex is like, "Oh my god, I'm in love with a Martian." Like, I don't need that. I just knowing that their friendship is their love. That's what the world is. People can love each other and not be in love with each other. That is a
That's actually
thing.
what I love. I don't know. Have you seen any of the have you seen any of the Flash crossover episodes? Because they've done like
So
one
the
or two.
the only
They've done it.
one that I saw was the musical one.
Okay,
That was the only
that's
one I ever
also
saw.
God. That episode is so good, except for that freaking Super Friends song. I'm sorry. All of their covers are great because the two of them were on Glee together.
Yes,
That's where
they
that whole
were.
thing came from. They were on
It
Glee
was
at the end. That's right.
fantastic.
And so it was like, well, now that CW owns them, of course they're going to be in a
Yep.
musical episode together,
Yes.
and we're going to get another actor to be music maestro in the
I
meantime.
know, that was ridiculous. And like, my dad was like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Dad, all three of them were on Glee. It's
Um,
amazing."
but I think it's sometime in season two, maybe even actually no, it's even season one. Back when it was still on CBS, they did like the first like official crossover with Flash showing up,
Yep.
and their chemistry is so good, and it does not have any of that stupid romantic
Romance.
tension
Yeah.
going to it. They are just like nerdy nerds that love hanging out with each other,
Yeah. See,
and it is the
that's
nicest. It is like the nicest relationship between them.
yeah, and it really does. I like that it shows. It really points out to the whole balancing of two worlds kind of situation too in Supergirl. Like, I really like that part of
Yeah.
it. I really like those moments, and it's like you're doing it really well too. Like, it's not awkward. It's really not awkward.
And it's filmed so beautifully
Yes. Yep.
like
Yep.
starting at season 3, there's like a whole thing at the end of season 2 where this like guy she is in love with has to like go away,
Yep.
and she gets like super depressed,
Mhm.
and they do this beautiful like subtle thing in the background where through all of season 1 and season 2 her apartment is lit in this like yellow beautiful open lighting. As soon as season 3 opens up, it's gray and
Yep.
it's blue, and it's like all in the background. They never like make like a huge thing to be like, oh, look how sad she is from back here and all this. It's just like, oh no, they're just shooting her apartment differently,
Yeah.
just
It's
as like this whole subtle background thing. Like, oh, someone with a cinematography degree, someone who knows what they're doing, actually shot this scene.
yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny too. It's really funny that, like, I'm so into it. Like, that's what my dad and I do pretty much every Thursday is during we watch it while we eat lunch too, like, together. And it's it's fun. It's just a fun time because I'm so into it now, and I never saw that I would be this into it, considering that I haven't seen like the entire middle part of what is out there yet. And
Right.
I was nervous because tried to watch Arrow, and I watched maybe like the first 10 minutes of an episode, and I was like, I can't get into this.
It's a totally different show.
Get into this.
Part of that is I think like it really benefited from not being on CW its first season. Like as much as it's like I like that it's on now and that they do these like crossover events every year that are always really good, and they do like the Earth 1 and Earth 2 thing with it. I really like that, but it is an entirely different feeling and different like take on like DC stuff than what's going on with Arrow, which really was really trying to ape the whole Batman thing for a while.
Yeah.
And like it's gotten better since it got away from that. Like season 5 and now season 6 that I'm watching are excellent seasons because they're trying something different. And like that was the big thing. That was what I loved about Flash. Like Flash felt so different from Arrow when it started because it was so much goofier and it was like all of these like sci-fi stuff going on. It's like if someone took Batman or Christopher Nolan's Batman movies and went, oh, what if all of a sudden we just started sticking goofy cartoon circumstances of like mutants and aliens into your thing? It's like, no, I'm trying to do this dark realistic thing. It's like, too bad. Here's just like a bunch of goofy idiots here's Tom Cavanaugh playing a different character every season and having to ham it up on screen. Oh my God, Tom Cavanaugh on The Flash might be one of my favorite TV performances I've seen in years. Because every season he's playing his character from like a different Earth, and so he has to play a different character. And then there's like a scene where he's like having this like council. The character's name is Harrison Wells. He's got the Council of Wells, which is him and these 3 holograms of these 3 different Harrison Wells from different Earths, and like one of them is from like a Mad Max universe basically.
Oh my God.
And so he's sitting there with this like the like metal thing, like metal helmet over his head, and he's chewing on a rat, and he's talking in this really bad Australian accent. And then there's another one that looks like oh God, I just blanked on the artist's name that did the Campbell Soup painting. Oh my God.
Oh, Andy Warhol?
Thank you.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
it's Tom Cavanaugh doing an Andy Warhol impression. Like, and it's like, are you kidding me with this? Like, they just go all over the place with
That's
that.
awesome.
And
Yeah,
so
see, that's
then
funny.
Supergirl is like this perfect balance between those two, where they get like the super drama sequences and then also like episodes with frickin' Mixelplick.
Yep. Yeah, it's great. I don't know. Yeah, so speaking on the subject of I think our next subject will be Teen Titans Go to the Movies. If we have another hour. No.
Oh God, I haven't actually watched. I have to actually watch some of Teen Titans Go if I'm going to do that. I've never watched that show before.
I'm only joking. I'm the only thing I'm going to say about it is I'm stupid excited.
Good. Good.
Stupid excited.
As a fan, I was a fan of the Teen Titans cartoon from like years back that the, jerks on the internet always want to come back. But like, I appreciate Teen Titans Go for what it is. I appreciate that it's gotten so big that they would make a movie out of it.
Yeah, and
Go
it's
be
so
excited
stupid.
about that,
It's
people.
so stupid. But I'm really excited. But I can't wait for that to come out and then talk about that. But yeah. I think we hit some good points.
Everyone, get a bunch of friends together, get really drunk, and watch Suicide Squad.
Or don't. Just watch it in a normal...
Nope. No, don't do
We're
that.
going to shut that down right away. Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this week.
it, yeah.
Oh, man.
This was a good one.
I guess I opened, so I have to close. I never think about
I've been I'm like, come on,
You're
Zach.
like, so you're gonna
let's
say
go.
it? And I'm
You're gonna say it on Twitter?
We've been Say Report Jr. You can follow us on Twitter at Say Report Jr. You can follow us individually. You can follow me at Zerwisky.
And you can follow me at Dale's Brain.
And yeah, love the things you love, people. Don't let people like me try and analyze it too much to ruin it. But with that being said,
gonna throw it to you, Liz.
Yes.
I stole that
Bye.
from you.
I can never remember the order. Okay.
It's okay. It's fine.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your hosts Dale Decker and Zach Sarowitz. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.